Unitarian Universalist Church of the Palouse, building our future. The picture here shows the Swedish Lutheran church that was built in 1905. It later became the Moscow Senior Center and was purchased by the UU Fellowship in 1985 to become our church building. The UU Fellowship restored the building to a spiritual home by restoring the Gothic windows, adding artwork and landscaping and so on to create the building you see here. As the congregation grew, many issues arose that prevented us from being the radically welcoming community we aimed to be. For example, there was too little sanctuary space for Sunday services, and the RE programming was all housed in a separate building the children had to walk to. This building was over 100 years old and had various wiring and plumbing issues, and was definitely starting to show its age. Moreover, our facilities had very poor accessibility. This picture shows our main entryway, which was a concrete staircase, though there was a ramp off to the side not shown. In addition, a mere 3-foot wide stairway connected the sanctuary to the basement fellowship hall. To reach the basement, and the only restrooms in the building, folks in wheelchairs had to exit the sanctuary, descend a ramp to the street, go around the building, cross the patio, and reach a side entrance to the basement. In 2015, a task force of the church worked with a local architect to propose 4 possible options: do nothing, make limited upgrades to both buildings for accessibility, expand the existing structure at the current location, or acquire new property and build an all-new structure. The congregation overwhelmingly approved the third option of expanding at the existing location, with the new construction replacing the separate structure that was used for RE programming. Sanctuary seating will be expanded, including the addition of a new balcony. In addition to a ground-level entry, accessibility will be improved with the addition of an elevator. March 30th, 2021, construction began with the destruction of the RE building. Much of the original building was fortunately salvaged and repurposed. This shot shows the stem walls under construction. The hole on the left is to accommodate the new elevator. By May, the foundation for the new structure was in place. Throughout the summer, things really began to take shape. Meanwhile, major improvements were underway in the original sanctuary, including the construction of a new stage with all new wiring for sound and video recording. This will enable hybrid, in-person and online services in the future. These photos show existing office spaces being removed to expand the sanctuary, and beams being installed to support the new balcony, which will be entered from the new addition. The basement fellowship hall also received some much-needed updates, including the installation of concrete floors for several rooms originally built only inches above the ground. By September, the windows and roof were being installed. In October, the siding was mostly installed and work moved inside just in time for the onset of winter weather. You can see here that in that month they finished the siding, installed wiring and plumbing, and even began installing the elevator. UUCP member Pam Arbergreen designed and constructed a 4-foot diameter chalice window made of thousands of pieces of recycled colored glass. It took 4 months to construct, and the finished window weighs around 100 pounds. It's now installed in the gable of our new addition. This bright symbol shines over the surrounding community like a beacon. Here's what the new facility looks like today. Construction will conclude sometime in 2022, hopefully just in time for a safe return to in-person services. The UUCP community is looking forward to an exciting year to come. Thank you.
So, welcome to our Sunday worship service. I'm Molly Smith, and I'll be your celebrant this morning. I've been a member of this church for about 10 years now. The theme of our service today is radical welcoming. Radical welcoming is one of those ideals we can never really reach, sort of like housework. It's never done. We can't just sit back and relax, telling ourselves that we've done that already. There will always be something more to do. But sometimes it's worthwhile to look back and see that we have made some progress. We will explore this more during the service. And this morning, we have someone very special with us for the first time. So, please rise and give your most heartfelt, most radical welcome to our interim minister. I hope I can speak for all of us that you are at the heart of our celebration this morning. I'd like to extend a very special welcome to all those who are joining us for the first time. We're very glad you are here. If you've come in person, we hope you've received a welcome packet with an information card in it. If you don't have one yet, please ask following the service. Fill it out and put it in the offering basket or drop it off at the office. If you're joining us online, there's a link on our website to an electronic version of that same card. Our welcoming committee, or anyone else, welcoming committee members have yellow name tags and can answer any questions or point you toward additional information. Whether you're new or not, please consider staying for coffee and conversation after the service, either downstairs in our fellowship hall or in our Zoom room. And now, let's say our words of welcome together. Whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, and whether you strolled, rolled, Zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people of many beliefs, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here. And now let's take a moment to say hello across the technical divide. First, we're going to show the people joining us on Zoom. If you're at home, please turn on your camera. And now, people at home, wave. Now, you are attending the service in our building. It's your turn to wave. And we do have a couple of announcements. Dwayne DeTemple.
This will be short, but 3 weeks ago, the men's group launched our campaign writing postcards to black potential voters in Georgia. And we'll have another writing session in the church on August 19th from 7 to 8. But we have a new scheme to help out with the project, and that's envelopes that are in a box above the coat rack in the basement floor, the ground floor. And you can take a kit that will explain how to write with the cards, the addresses, and the colored pens at your own time, and return the envelope then again to another box on the shelf above the coat rack. Thanks for your help. We're down to, by the way, just 2. I think people have already taken some. We're down to this envelope and one more downstairs, but watch out, we'll be supplying more.
And another announcement from Chelsea Llewellyn.
Good morning, everyone. We are delighted to say that Lodge Fest, which will be happening August 22nd and 23rd up at the Palouse Divide Lodge, was sponsored by the UUCP Ignite grant. So thank you so much for helping us out with that. And it's going to be a really, really fun free weekend. There's going to be 7 live bands. The Chelseas are going to open and close the event. We are going to have hiking, a bike race, fun run. There's going to be children's activities, art vendors, food, beer. It's going to be a blast. We are seeking volunteers. So Summer's going to be sending out some information, hopefully next week, about this. And so if you would like to help us out, we would really appreciate some folks helping, being parking attendants, runners, helping at the welcome table, just in 2-hour time slots. So I hope to see you up at Lodge Fest. Put it on your calendar. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Thanks.
As far as I know, here end the announcements. The land on which our church is built is part of the ancestral homeland of the Nimipu, the people, mistakenly called the Nez Perce or Pierce Noses by French-speaking trappers and traders. We acknowledge the land is held in sacred kinship since time immemorial. The land and its peoples suffered immeasurable trauma wrought by Euro-American society, and we are working with its resilient peoples to show respect and contribute to the healing and nurturing of this precious land and all its peoples. We're hoping that folks joining us via Zoom have a chalice or a candle to light and something to light it with. Let's light our chalices together. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
Good morning. Our theme today is trifold. We are here to celebrate our amazing building, the wonders and hopes and goodwill of transitioning from Reverend Elizabeth to Reverend Shelley, and to also embrace the term radical welcoming as part of our mission here at UUCP. And that's a lot. Any of these might be enough, but when were we ever satisfied with enough? Enough is for other congregations. We are all about doing more. Doing more with our spaces and with our embraces. So I want to jump back with a short history lesson, because for me, this theme of radical welcoming caught me up weeks ago while planning this Sunday service, and I thought of the Statue of Liberty. So most folks know that the Statue of Liberty that sits in New York Harbor was a gift from France. It was transported to the US in parts and was a goodwill gesture. The idea for the statue began in 1865 with a Frenchman named Edouard de la Boulaye. He wanted to honor the alliance between France and America during the Revolutionary War and to celebrate the upcoming centennial of US independence in 1876. He also wanted to make a political statement because at that time, France was under the authoritarian rule of Napoleon III. He enlisted Auguste Bartholdi to design it and asked him to travel to the US to find a good place to locate it. As Bartholdi sailed into the New York harbor for the first time, he saw Bedloe's Island visible to every ship entering the harbor, and he exclaimed, "It's the gateway to America." It took years to officially designate as such. It was President Ulysses S. Grant who signed the bill in 1877. But there was a hitch. The French would deliver the completed statue in pieces and could be assembled here, but there had to be built a pedestal to hold this giant statue. Congress would not fund the building of the pedestal to mount the statue, so it was up to the public to donate the money. The fundraising nearly stalled as the building of the statue was progressing in France. Publisher Joseph Pulitzer used his newspaper to shame the rich and to rally the citizens. Wasn't that a time? He promised to publish every donor in his paper. It worked, and the money for the pedestal was collected, the pedestal was completed, the statue arrived and was mounted. So in 1883, Emma Lazarus wrote a poem to help with fundraising to pay for this pedestal. She was a well-known poet and an activist for the Jewish refugees of her time. She named the poem New Colossus after the Colossus in Rhodes Harbor from ancient Greece. That statue was dedicated to military victory. Our Statue of Liberty was to be dedicated to welcoming, to providing a place for all. Today, this poem is on a plaque at the base of the statue. The poem was the first one I ever memorized as a child, and I'm going to recite it to you now without... Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest, tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Okay, so our opening hymn is number 1, May Nothing Evil. You may be seated. So this is normally our time for all ages, but I believe that Ryan has something to share with us.
And now, let's take a moment to engage in the practice of generosity together. For those of you able to make a financial contribution, the logistics are on your screen. We typically give away all the cash from our Sunday offering to local charities whose mission aligns with our values. a program called the Month of Sundays. This Month of Sundays recipient for August will be the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies, WGSS, program at the University of Idaho, which is an interdisciplinary academic minor devoted to the study of topics concerning gender and sexuality, feminist theory and research, social history, public health, and participation in the arts and popular culture. The WGSS minor fosters critical thinking about gender, race, class, sexuality, ability, and public health, equipping students to examine and challenge the social systems that shape access, opportunity, and lived experience. Since the closure of the university's Women's Center and its LGBTQA office in December 2024, is now the only official university source of support for queer and non-binary identified students and their allies. Due to recent state budget cuts, the program has lost all its funding for the 2026-2027 academic year. Funds from the Month of Sundays collections will support educational programming and social support for students around issues related to gender and sexuality. To donate, please indicate Month of Sundays on your check or from the online drop-down menu. In the spirit of love and for the continuing work of this church, we now take some time to practice generosity together.
Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia Pavic.
And I'm Ash Anderson. I'm a little too far from the mic.
We, in the last year and a half or so that I've been at this congregation, have been very lucky to get to teach a class on transgender inclusion a couple of times, with more coming in the future. And that class focuses really centrally on radical welcome. And we were asked if we could read a poem by
Coleman Barks, or translated by Coleman Barks.
By Rooney, translated by Coleman Barks. This being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival.
A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor.
Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep through your house, empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight.
The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
Our homily today is on radical welcoming and how we remodeled our church. I've been trying to define for myself the idea of radical welcoming, and I remembered learning as a child about certain tribes and traditions who, when a stranger arrives at their doorstep, they're taught to welcome them in, offer them food, drink, maybe even depriving themselves and their children in that time. The stranger gets treated well. When I learned that was a tradition, I wondered why. What purpose does it serve a family, a community to be welcoming? That stranger moves on, and the family is the poorer for it? Not so. Because in the welcoming, there is transformation. For me, that's the definition of radical welcoming. So the welcoming is tied to transformation. You may have stories as well rattle around in your head, biblical stories, stories from other traditions, notions that the benefit of the welcome doesn't just flow one way. So let's explore the radical part. If we can agree that to be welcoming is a good thing, how do we get to an extreme point of welcoming? Not just a good welcome, but a radical one. I think it describes an all-in hospitality. The welcome goes beyond politely tolerating people who are different from us. A radical welcome actively seeks out and affirms and includes others, especially people who may have been excluded or marginalized or dismissed or described as some sort of an other. It's a gathering in of the outcasts. It's making all welcome. It's a proactive welcome. Not just everyone is welcome who shows up, but actively working to remove barriers and signal to all that we are fundamentally and structurally about open arms. It manifests in embracing groups like LGBTQ plus people, disabled people, indigenous communities, people of color, immigrants, and letting them know they're appreciated, that they belong with us. Not just benevolence, but a true recognition there is work here that is reciprocal and mutual. The welcoming in those seeming outsiders makes some kind of transformation of how we see ourselves, that they are the catalyst for changing and enriching our community. And there's wonder in that act. But it is one thing to welcome in the disabled, and it's something entirely different to invite in those who don't share our values, whom we find questionable or even reprehensible. That line came from a discussion with a man named Steve Wells. You may know him. Anyway, I wasn't going to include that, but there it is. Do we extend our radical welcome to all of them as well? I have no answers, but there does seem to be a question at the core of radical welcome. On another, less controversial note, our own Al Poplaski wrote an article that was published in the Daily News. The article focuses on the benefits of transitioning from natural gas heat, as we had here, to mini-split electrical heating and making our building more resilient in times when natural gas flow is disrupted. But I can see radical welcoming inside this as well. Our church is a credible refuge for those who need it in our community. We also play this role regularly with providing family promise housing. And during the remodel, I've learned that Joel Hamilton was here daily, overseeing the changes and watching the construction. We are so fortunate to have folks who are personally invested in this place, this community. We worked to make this building welcome when we were planning the elevator for those who want to move about without stairs. And that's a physical manifestation of the notion we want to be welcoming. But there are structural signs in how we as Unitarian Universalists are fundamentally welcoming. Ryan has mentioned recently how our leadership functions not by hierarchy, but through a shared governance, so each part is linked and conversant and shared. There is an inclusivity here that goes beyond friendliness to respectful celebration of diversity. At least that's how it seems to me. How did we get here? Ginger and Sam have some thoughts they'd like to share. Videos will follow. And before and after and between all the videos, we are inserting a poem. It's called All That We Share is Sacred by Andrea Moll.
As we gather together, may we remember, when you share with me what is most important to you, this is where listening begins. When I show you that I hear you, when I say your life matters, that is where compassion begins.
In my ministry here, my understanding of what it means to be radically inclusive and welcoming has shifted. We often think of welcome as something we offer when someone arrives. We learn their name or we invite them to join us. But radical welcome begins earlier. We have to prepare for people before we know exactly who they will be. As an example, for many years, our religious education classrooms were in a turn-of-the-century house that sat beside the church. It was a beloved space, but it was not accessible. I often worried about what would happen if a child who used a wheelchair or other physically assistive device came to join us. We would have wanted to welcome them, but they could not enter the physical community we had created. Years passed and that child never arrived, not because families with differing abilities were absent from our wider community, but because an inaccessible building communicates who has been expected and who we are not ready for. Accessibility was a driving force behind our renovation. Since then, young people who use wheelchairs have moved through our spaces with ease, comfort, and dignity. This is radical welcome, removing barriers before someone has to ask and creating spaces for people whose names we don't even yet know. Now we can continue that work throughout our shared ministry, examining our assumptions, traditions, and visible barriers so that when people arrive, they discover that a place that has already been prepared for them.
When I open the door to greet you, that's where hospitality begins. When I venture out to bring you to shelter, that's where love begins. When I risk my comfort to ease your suffering, when I act against hatred, violence, and injustice, that's where courage begins.
Every Sunday, this service reaches people in this room and people hundreds of miles away, on their laptops, in their kitchens, in hospital rooms, in cars and parking lots. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because a lot of people, for a lot of years, decided that radical hospitality wasn't just a theme for a renovation, it was a call to action. This is the story of how we got here. Not long ago, our entire sound system ran through the attic. It worked mostly, but the wiring up there also happened to pick up local radio stations. If you go back and listen to some of our older recorded services, you can actually hear sports talk radio bleeding into the background. Recording a service meant using a camcorder. Afterward, it was burned to a disc. Every copy was physical, a hard drive, a disc, a tape. If it wasn't in this building, it did not exist. That was our system for a long time, and it served us well. But it was fragile, and it was limited to the people who happened to be in the room. When the pandemic sent us online in early 2020, Paul Thompson ran our services on nothing more than a Dell laptop and a second screen. Most of us had never even heard of Zoom, let alone used it for something this important. While we couldn't meet in person, we made the leap and began our long-planned building renovation. The sound system wasn't originally part of that plan, but it became clear that if we were serious about radical hospitality, about actually welcoming people in wherever they were, our AV needed to change too. Rod Sprague designed the original roadmap for the new digital mixer and soldered the first microphone connections. I picked up the soldering iron for the first time in my life in order to finish getting the setup, and added HD video and data ports, then built the local area network that let every device talk to each other. By then, UUCP had become fluent in Zoom, and our weekly workflow kept getting more efficient. We learned to produce collaborative content. Joys and sorrows, readings, and meditations all were submitted ahead of time, recorded, and then mixed with music. Video then had to be edited, collaborative music had to be tracked and then recorded. When we moved into the new building, we tried running the entire service off of one high-powered laptop that John Poole had donated. We quickly learned that each service element needed its own machine and its own pathway, something we could duplicate or replace quickly if it failed. That's part of why the booth looks so complicated. Every screen and every device has one single job. Just as importantly, we ran the new wiring under the sanctuary instead of through the attic, which solved most of the interference problems. We moved the ambient microphones closer to the mixer, and when noise still creeps in, we've added inline RF filters to clean up the signal. Today, a typical Sunday looks like this. Our MacBook Air hosts the Zoom meeting and pulls audio straight from the digital mixer. A second laptop runs the slides, lyrics, readings, anything that needs to go on the screen. The third laptop sits in the Zoom meeting as a participant, so our online congregation can see and be seen, and so we can actively monitor for any problems in real time. Our live stream runs through an ATEM Mini Extreme, which is basically a mixer, but for videos, and we switch between 4 remote-controlled PTZ cameras. We originally started with 2, and then John Poole donated 2 additional cameras over the last couple of years. Last year, his generosity helped us to upgrade the mixer from a 16 to a 32-channel mixer, letting us dedicate a channel to each service element. We now run 6 wireless microphones alongside our fixed inputs on and off the stage. We still offer the RF assisted listening devices at the name tag table. 2 years ago, we tried broadcasting straight into hearing aids over Bluetooth, but the audio lag made it unworkable. We'll keep exploring that option as the technology continues to improve. We've also added 4 Kindles so that people can follow along with Zoom's closed captions if they prefer. And because radical hospitality means more than just reaching people online, it means not building a system that only one person can run. I built this setup so that it doesn't depend only on me. Most Sundays I have help from a University of Idaho assistant, and when I'm on my own, I can run the entire service virtually from the piano, using nothing but a laptop and a second screen. After each service, we upload to YouTube. We trim the time for all ages and joys and sorrows for our privacy. We keep 2 full recordings of every service, one straight from the ATEM and the board, and one directly from the Zoom meeting. Both are backed up physically on hard drives in the music office and online on our Google Drive workspace. Joe Palin maintains all of our digital media. Sticking with Zoom rather than other streaming platforms has let us keep our digital privacy standards intact and continue to have a secure meeting backed with a password-protected option. We recently added 2 new QSC speakers to the back of the room, and the difference in depth and clarity has been remarkable. Those speakers will be permanently installed in the coming weeks. But this system was never meant to be finished. Radical hospitality is a moving target, and it means we keep asking who isn't being reached yet and what's standing in the way. Every improvement we make in the room and online is in service of that question. None of this, the cameras, the mixer, the Zoom room, the quiet hum of a system that mostly just works, happened because of one person. It happened because volunteers gave their time, donors gave generously, and a lot of people believed that welcoming this congregation meant welcoming everyone, wherever they happened to be sitting. As we welcome a new chapter in our ministry, this system will keep evolving, because radical hospitality is never really finished.
when we experience the full presence of each other. Because of our shared humanity, because of our differences, that is where holy gratitude begins.
May this space be a table that is not complete until all are welcome. May this table be a space of beauty where together we create a series of miracles and where all that we share is sacred. Now, join us in the closing hymn once Sam arrives at the piano. Number 1014, Answering the Call of Love. Next is our musical benediction. There is a love. I guess you could have remained standing. Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. Let go gently in our hearts. May it flow through us as we use it until we are together again. This church has changed, and us with it. Now, with a ministry change, we learn once again, the beginning comes after the end. Please join us in the fellowship hall or online for coffee and chat. Oh, there's also going to be a circle for anyone who has some desire to join in this kind of fellowship. Please join us. Please join us. Oh, I forgot. Yes, that's part of the announcements. We have a welcoming cake for Reverend Shelley. Come downstairs. Oh, and the basket?